Travelers, welcome to the 5th bi-weekly Mystery MTG Spice Arena. I am your host, the Ghost of Visgoth, a traveler like you who fell to the dark powers underneath this snow. Today we have many adventurers, and we will see who lives and dies. Now, before we get into this, I will have to say we're quite late today, and I'm going to double check stream quality and then we will be good to go and we will start. Today we are going back into the story mode. Let me know if the music is too loud. Oh, this thing is stuck. Let me know if the music is too loud and we will change that. But once we get into the story, we will not stop. This will be a constant story in the land of Visgoth, and I'm just going to double check the quality and then we're going to get started. So, give me a second. Okay, I think we're good. I'll give time for people to get in here before we start. This story will likely, I would say, run for the next hour and 30 minutes. If this is your first time here, people who buy spicy tickets are incorporated into the story, and we will see who lives and dies. If you die, you don't get anything. If you live, you get vintage MTG packs ranging from Stronghold to Scourge to Mirrodin Besieged. Some of the best sets ever released in terms of nostalgia, at least in my opinion. So, let me turn on the chat here. The chat is on. You guys can write stuff and it should pop up. The chat box should be here. Let me make the chat box on the top. Here we go. How are you all doing tonight? We will get started very soon. I'm just giving a brief moment for people to get in here. And then once they're in here, we will start the story. And to expand on this a little bit, the story has not been planned at all. This is off the top. If you want to write something in chat that you think should be a part of the story, write it in chat and we will incorporate it. So, if I see it in time, I will incorporate it. So this is how it's going to be done. Hopefully you guys can hear me pretty well. I think the music is not too loud. Let me know if it is too loud. And say something in chat if you're here now. Let me know that the chat is working. I will give it another 2 minutes before we start. So everyone just grab a drink. It'll take 2 minutes and then we'll get started. This story is going to be, I think, a very not PG-13 in terms of violence story. So if you're not into extreme gore, as you can tell by the image behind me, we're going to get into some really eerie, mystical events. And people will die, and the deaths will be gruesome. They will be incredibly gruesome. Like I said, though, this is off the top, and I am one sick bastard, so the stories will be incredibly, well, I'm not going to say nasty, but I think the deaths will be something that you might enjoy. You might even enjoy the death story more than you would enjoy the vintage pack, if you do die. So we're going to give another minute for people to get in here. I know it's late. I know that we had quite a few technical difficulties before we could get started. Let me make sure. Is the music too loud? Also, I'm not seeing anything in chat. We typically have people chatting by now. Let me check if we are... Okay, everything looks fine on our end. Oh, I'm so ready for this. The sword of Visgoth is in my hand. Look at that. Opaque, because I am dead. I am a dead traveler who attempted to do what you are doing today. And I did not make it. But you may. You may make it. Someone type in chat, so I know chat is working. I know there's some of you in here. Don't make me call you out. I will. So we have a pretty sizable amount of people today. but we also have enough room for us to tell a good story, which is what I'm excited about. Jeffrey Sawatsky, the first person to type in chat. Jeffrey, because you were the first person to type in chat, email me and you get $15 credit for free for your next purchase. Jeffrey Sawatsky, first person to chat, $15 credit. Bam, I'm like Oprah. $15 credit for your next purchase, all for typing hello in chat. There we go. I'll make the chat box a little bit bigger so we can incorporate that. Here we are. Okay, Jeffrey, just make sure you email us at info@mysterymtg.com. The story will start now. If you are interested in seeing if you won, look at the top right where it says Knights of Spice, and it will have your name listed if you do win. If you do not win, your name will not be listed. So for those who can't stay the entire time, which is probably an hour and a half, if your name isn't there, that means you did not win, you died. And I would suggest going back and listening to your death story, because I think the death stories, like I said, will be epic. This is going to be a very eerie tale. And with that, my weary travelers, we enter the land of Visgoth. Visgoth is no ordinary land, and to the ordinary traveler, it seems desolate, bleak, covered in snow. Bones riddle the floor. But there are a group of brothers, 15 in fact, from the house of Georgiou. These brothers, consisting of names that we know, including Stanley Tarasowitz, the Black Knight, Nick Griffin, Adam Swift, John Pinder, Jeffrey Swatsky. These are the brothers you know from the house of Georgiou. These brothers are cursed, but little do they know that in attempting to run away from this curse, they walk into a realm so deadly that they may not walk out. The story starts on a cold, dark Friday. The father and the mother of these brothers have been killed in a raid. These brothers have nowhere to go, and they only have satchels filled with small crumbs of bread, a little bit of water, and goat's milk for the journey. One of the brothers, Zach Schinkel, has not had any food for over 2 weeks. He has survived only off of goat's milk, and he is incredibly weary. And he tells his brothers, Jonathan, Sungho, Kevin, come with me. Do you see that thing to the right? It is a mountain, a snowy mountain. If we go there, we may be able to rest. Grab some veggies. Now, Sungho says, you fool! There are no veggies on that mountain. It's a snowy mountain. Zach, what are you saying? Now, Zach at this point is so delirious. He's so dehydrated. He's so hungry that this mountain looks green and flush with veggies and grass. He runs there anyway, and his brothers are forced to follow. All of them follow. On the way to that mountain, there is a snowy forest, and this snowy forest is the cause of all problems. It is so thick, it almost resembles a maze. Now, as they enter into this forest, Zach is the first to enter. Zach, you must roll. As you are the first to enter and they can't see what you see, you aren't able to tell them. So you roll twice. Zach has 2 rolls. Remember, 1 to 50 is a win, 50 to 100 is a loss. Oh wait, sorry, opposite. We'll count that as a win, so 1 win. But it's actually 1 to 50 is a loss, and 50 to 100 is a win. We'll count this as a win because I said it like that. Second roll, so that is 1 win. Second roll. is a 12. That is a loss. So 1 to 50 is a loss. 50 to 100 is a win. Keep that in mind. I always get it mixed up. That is 1 loss, 1 win. So Zach enters into the forest. You hear a shriek. And Zach stumbles outside of the forest. I don't know, wait, if someone loses once, should they die? So 50 is a win and a loss. Nick, a 50 will count as a win. 50 will count as a win if you land an actual 50. Zach stumbles out, and you notice a gash on his chest. And no one knows what happened. Zach is obviously incredibly scared at this point. He's tired already. He's bleeding. He stumbles onto the ground. His blood is on the snow. Now his brother, Justin Aquino, says, "Who did this to Zach?" And he runs in, sword in hand, like the strong warrior he is. He charges, willing to avenge his brother. Justin has one rule. Let us see what he sees. That is a win. So let me write the names down. After Justin runs into the forest, he sees small little owls perched onto the little branches, waiting in silence. And as he climbs in, his sword ready to his hand, he sees one fly at him. Within a blink of the eye, he dodges, he hits the little talons, attempting to slash him, and beheads the little baby owl. And as he beheads that owl, you hear a loud scream in the distance. Now Justin can infer that this is the mother of the owls, and he's not really worried at this point. Owls are not typically an issue. These are baby owls. Now they look a little bit creepy. The eyes are a little bit green and orange, and they peer out. But Justin is not knowledgeable of owls typically, so he assumes this is, just a rabid case of an owl being very aggressive. Now he kills the owl, so that is a win for Justin. 1 win for Zach Schinkel. So it's Justin Aquino and Zach Schinkel. Let me write your names down here. So Zach Schinkel has 1 win. And Justin Aquino has 1 win. Okay, we continue forward. Justin heads further into this forest, blind. Owls are screaming and flying around him. None of them land, none of them hurt him. Zach at this point is quite wounded. One of the brothers decides to stay behind with him and let the others go deeper into this forest just to scout and see what they might find. Alexton Mann is a brother that we have seen before. He was once a gladiator and performed very well in the arena. He now leads the charge with his brothers to find out what exists in this forest. Is there food? Can we get to the mountain? But Alex is not incredibly optimistic about this, okay? He knows that this mountain they're headed towards is not flush with veggies and brush. It is just a snowy mountain filled with rocks and snow and ice. But they're all a little bit delirious at this point. They've had very little to drink. Now, as they're running forward, they see a dozen of these orange-green eyes light up in front of them. Let me change the music real quick. This music is not... Let's go back to here. We need something a little bit... Here we are. There we go. I like this. Now, as they head forward into the forest, they see a dozen of these orange-green eyes light up in front of them. And they stop in their tracks. Justin says, "Wait! Alexton! Don't run ahead." Alexton Mann is not I was gonna say something, but I shouldn't say that. Alexton Man has a big ego, and he runs forward anyway. Alexton Man has 3 rolls. As he runs forward, he makes out the shape of a man's body with an owl's head and goat horns. The confusion on his face stuns him for a second. What is this? This is sacrilegious! He pulls out his sword, and as he does that, one of them flings forward for Alexis Man. First roll is a 43. That's a loss, right? Okay. 43 is a loss. We'll roll the second and third before we continue on with the story. Second. 41. Third. Okay, we're going to re-roll once, because 3 losses in a row, we give 1 re-roll. Come on. There we go. 1 win. As this owl creature with goat horns rushes forward, Alexton Man raises his sword. He's able to slit one in the throat and hear a disgusting cry. As this cry happens, his ears burst in pain. What is this creature? And as he puts his hand on his head and he leans down, a second one swoops in from the right, buries its talons inside of his chest and pulls. The intestines are visible. You can hear Justin Aquino scream, "No! Alexton!" And Justin tries to rush forward, but it's too late. Alexton Man falls to the floor, his blood pooling around him. And the owl, you can't tell if it's smiling, but almost looks like with its beak has a smirk on its face. Now the owl looks up quickly and sees Justin and sees Sung Ho Huang and Jonathan Fagel following close behind. Jonathan first rushes in, grabs his sword, and attempts to swing it on the head of the creature. Jonathan, do you land this roll? Do you behead the creature that has killed your brother? He does not. Jonathan attempts to swing his sword down, but just narrowly misses. The owl uses its wing to brush Jonathan aside as if he was nothing. Jonathan flies 15 feet in the air and lands on Justin Aquino. They're both knocked out. Not dead, but knocked out. Sung Ho Huang sees what's happening, grabs his dagger. He actually has 2 daggers, grabs both daggers, stares at the owl. The owl doesn't move. Now this actually intimidates Sung Ho Huang, and we know Sung Ho. He's been in many arenas. This is a strong warrior. This is not a warrior you can mess with. But he senses something incredibly evil about the surrounding area, about these creatures. These are not natural creatures. This is dark magic. Sung Ho takes his daggers and say, "If my death comes today, then it comes. But I will take you with me." Sung Ho runs towards the owl. The owl gets its talons ready. Does Sung Ho kill this owl and claim victory for his brothers? He does! Not only does he kill this owl, as he runs into the battle with the skill that one can only hone through decades of training, Sung Ho takes the blade of his dagger, stabs it into the heart of this owl, hears a shriek, and within a second does a turn, stabs another owl in the neck that is trying to charge him from behind. The blood squirts onto his eyes. Sung Ho evades combat. A third owl is coming after him, but he's too quick. He's out of combat. He's near his brothers again. The brothers are incredibly impressed by this performance. Just 1 roll and he does it incredibly well. Sung Ho has killed 2 owls. There are 3 left. At this point, they are angry. Roy Rudd sees this anger, and Roy is a man of anger himself. He is angry at the world for the death of his parents. He's angry at the world for his poverty. He grabs his sword and charges in. He has 1 roll. Roy, what will you do? Roy, with anger and vitriol, takes his sword and slams it into the head of the first owl he sees. The owl, not quick enough not nearly quick enough to dodge. Now, as he does this, you can hear the crack of the skull. This scares even the owls. You see that they actually might have emotion. They sort of take a couple steps back at this point. They hear the crack of the skull of their own sibling, or what you assume is their sibling. And the battle is nearly finished. There's only 2 owls left. And both of them eerie, disgusting creatures. Unsure if they want to continue. Now, before they get a chance, G.D. Hammond took this time to walk from behind. And he has a scythe. And he attempts to swing it up into the owl and claim its life. J.D. Hammond, do you land this roll? Oh my god, not only does he land it, he takes the scythe, and as he swings, you see his biceps curl. The strength is so strong that this owl is flung in 2 pieces across from the brothers, the blood spilling onto everyone there and into the eyes of the other owl. The other owl is partially blind at this point and is scrambling on the floor, his wings flapping, but they can't actually fly. They have human bodies, but owl heads. And their wings are disgusting looking uneven wings that you know are not actually useful. They're a product of bad evolution. He has killed this owl. He has literally torn its body in half with this scythe. And he wins. So let me update the Knights of Spice. So we had Justin Aquino, we had Sung-ho Kwon. We also had Roy Rudd. Wait, did Roy die? Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go rewatch this just to make sure. Can someone confirm in chat if Roy died? Did Roy live or die? J.D. Hammond lived. J.D. Hammond lived. Roy won. Okay, won. Singo Huang won. I think Jonathan Fagel died. Alexis Mann had 1 win. We're just gonna double check this before we continue on the story, just to make sure people can come back later and see if they won. Okay. Okay, we are up to date. Now, where we left off, J.D. Hammond has literally torn this owl creature in half with his scythe. An incredible showing of strength and anger and power. You can tell these adventurers are incredibly weary and tired, but they still have the strength that only they possess. Next up, Kevin Pollard. Kevin, we know, is a strong warrior. He is a no bullshit kind of guy. He runs into this battle with 1 roll. The owl creature has blood on his eyes. He is disorientated. Oh, Adam, you can't see the... Yeah, let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, we'll do it like this, and then I'll just drop it lower. Kevin Pollard rushes in. He knows the creature is disorientated. He takes his axe, and he attempts to land a blow on the hand. Kevin, will you land this? He does! Not only does he take the hand off, he swings the axe down. He chops off both a piece of the wing and the hand of the creature. And the creature shrieks in pain. And just to stop this crying and the madness that has happened, Kevin takes the blunt end of the axe and swings it into the skull. Now you see, narrowly in the part of these owls' faces, you have this little gap. And he crushes the skull from that gap, and it destroys the brain. Crushing a skull is not easy, and this is This music is just killing the vibe. Wait, let me... We're gonna go back to the beginning. I love the beginning song for this. So Kevin Pollard wins. That is 1 win for Kevin. Alrighty. We move on to Joshua Moorland. These brothers have killed these owl creatures. Now, at this point in the story, they are tired, they're scared, but they're also kind of invigorated by this. They haven't had action in a long time. These are all warriors. They're strong travelers. They're brothers. They're mad at the death of their parents. They're mad at the world for a lot of things. And here they find that as they loot the bodies of these owls, there's food, cockroaches, insects, ladled all over the bodies of these creatures. Now, this is kind of disgusting to me and you, but to them, this is protein. They start to eat and feast off of these insects and cockroaches. Justin Aquino puts 4 cockroaches in his mouth, swallows them in one go. So, they decide to continue on in this forest. This is the best way they have to survive, is to see what's going on, maybe kill more of these owl creatures, loot them. But first, they bury the bodies of their brothers, Jonathan Fagel, Alexis Mann. They don't have much time, they don't have much energy, the bodies are burned, and they move forward. Now, as they continue on in this journey, they hear snickering in the distance. They know this already. Goblins are one of the worst creatures in the realm. They're plentiful, they're everywhere. Battling goblins is something that happens almost on a daily basis for travelers and Visgoth, though they are rare. The travelers are rare, the goblins are not. And these are mountainous winter goblins. They carry tunics of leather and animal fur, and they sit in the snow, and they're camouflaged quite well, except for the green ickiness of their skin that pops out quite strongly if you look closely. So we move over to Joshua Moorland. Joshua is the first to see these goblins. He doesn't perceive them to be a threat. Should be a quick little killing of a couple of goblins. But as he walks in to a very dense part of this jungle, this forest, he notices there's not just one goblin, there's not just 3, which typically they travel in groups of 2 or 3. There seem to be a dozen of these winter goblins. This is a little bit confusing for him, but goblins are goblins. They literally can be killed in one swipe of the sword. He might be able to handle this. He calls his brothers quickly and engages in combat. Joshua Moorland, 1 roll. Do you kill the first goblin that you stumble upon? This goblin, sadly, seems like a very immature and young goblin. Not really ready for battle. You do kill it. Not only do you kill it, you see it, and all you do is you simply raise your boot and stomp on its head, and it's dead. The head collapses within a second. Joshua Moorland is victorious in this very mini battle. Joshua Moorland, 1 win. Now, Nicholas Griffin sees what's happening. Nicholas is not a fan of goblins, okay? Nick Griffin doesn't hate goblins, but, I mean, they're nasty. They look like little boogers. I mean, this guy, what am I going to do here? They might have gold. They might have killed other adventurers. I'm just going to try to kill a few, loot them, and the others will likely scatter. They're not very courageous creatures. So Nicholas has 3 rolls. He is attempting to kill quite a few just to see. Now, keep in mind, goblin meat is edible. You can cook goblin meat, so Nicholas Griffin has this in mind. He might eat goblin tonight, and he's kind of excited for it. So the first roll is a 5. Nicholas Griffin is too excited about the idea of having meat to eat that he's drooling, and as he's drooling and he takes his sword and he tries to stab into one of the goblins as it gets up from the snow and from camouflage, He stumbles, and the goblin snickers a little bit. Now the goblin attempts to stab Nicholas Griffin. Does the goblin land this attack? Nicholas? The goblin does not land. The goblin stumbles forward as well. The snow's a little bit strong, and it's a little bit icy. The goblin stumbles forward. Nicholas grabs his sword and plunges it into the stomach. And as he does this and the blood drips out, you can see it squirt out onto his sword, actually. Rather than feel victorious, Nicholas feels hungry. And Nicholas at this point is savage-like. He almost wants to taste the blood fresh from this goblin. Now keep in mind, you should always cook your goblin meat, boil it to get rid of the germs. This is a very important process of cooking goblin meat. Hopefully Nicholas Griffin takes this in mind. Now Nicholas has killed this goblin, he is ready to eat this goblin, but another goblin emerges from right to the left of this goblin. This goblin appears to be related to this goblin. The anger in its eyes is unbelievable. And he attempts to go for Nicholas Griffin's neck. Will he kill Nicholas Griffin? Nicholas? He does not kill you. He attempts to go for your neck. Nicholas grabs its hand, pulls it over, and bites into the neck of the goblin. The brothers around him, J.D. Hammond, Kevin Pollard, Josh Moreland, look at Nicholas and just kind of stare in disbelief at this point. Our brother truly has turned into a savage. He is eating the flesh of this living goblin and has bitten into the neck. Blood all over his face. The brothers tried to subdue Nicholas Griffin and say, "Brother, this is too much. You are acting savage-like. You are not an animal. We must cook the meat." So Nicholas gets off of the goblin, and they notice more of the goblins running forward. Nicholas Griffin has won 2 of his rolls. We move on to Jeffrey Sawatsky. Jeffrey, a little bit shaken by what he's seen from his brothers, is also incredibly hungry though, and he would love to eat goblin meat. Now he knows that in this land, not in the land of Visgoth, but in the house of Georgiou, you must kill something to eat it. Nicholas Griffin has killed 2 goblins and he gets to eat those goblins. He doesn't have to share. So you have to claim what you think is yours. So, Jeffrey Sawatsky has 2 rolls. He attempts to kill 2 goblins for himself, and if he does this, then the goblins will likely run away. This is not their fight. They've obviously not been doing very well. Jeffrey Sawatsky has 2 rolls. Jeffrey, will you kill 2 goblins for yourself and enjoy a nice goblin roast tonight? The first roll is a 52. That is a win. Jeffrey, out of hunger, runs into battle, takes his sword, and quickly decapitates a goblin. Before the other goblin has a chance to run over and enter combat, he grabs the body, flings it over to the side, and is just keeping a little stockpile so he knows he has food for later. He has a second goblin come up. This goblin is not courageous, he is scared, but he knows that running will lead to death. He's one of the smarter goblins. Running very rarely ever works. He attempts to swing onto Jeffrey Sawatsky. Will he land? He does not land. That is 2 wins for Jeffrey Sawatsky. Easy. And he does it without any issues. Keep in mind, those are vintage MTG packs, so congratulations on that. You get to enjoy some sick packs when they come in. So the goblins that remain have either stayed in camouflage or run away, and these brothers, Zach, Justin, Sungho, Roy, J.D. Hammond, Joshua Moreland, Nicholas Griffin, and Jeffrey Sawatsky start to feast on the body of these goblins. They cook the hands. They even use the claws of these goblins as toothpicks. These guys at this point in their lives are so tired that this is one of the best moments they've had in a long time, and they cherish it. They really do cherish it. But while this is happening and they sit at this campfire, we need a change in music for this moment. That is not what we were looking for. Here we are. As they sit around this fire and enjoy this goblin meat, they hear rustles around them. You can hear Brandon and Carl say, "Brothers, stand up! Something is out." Now they've eaten. They have more energy. They're ready for battle now. As they stand up and they circle around each other, they sort of form a Roman blockade-esque maneuver where everyone's back is to their own backs. So it's a circle of men with their swords pointed ready. Now they see two red eyes pop up in front of them in the darkness of the forest at night. Now these eyes are hungry as well. And the goblin meat is still there. The smell is so strong that every creature within 5 miles has come over. And they are just as hungry as these travelers were. Brandon Carl, with strength in his voice, says, "To arms!" And as he says that, a saber-tooth-like creature jumps out of the dark and attempts to bite his leg and drag him into the darkness. Brandon has 2 rolls. Will he survive? First roll, 53, that is a win. Second roll, 65, that is a win. 2 wins in a row. The saber-tooth-like creature that they don't know of, they've never seen this creature, is big, it's nasty, it's vicious. It jumps out and attempts to grab his leg. Brandon easily brings out his sword, slashes the creature. The creature stumbles and rolls. And Brandon brings down his sword, plunging it into the neck of this creature. You can hear the gurgling of blood for a few seconds, and this creature is no more. Brandon, in his sick savagery, laughs. "More meat for the fire," he says. That is Brandon Carl. 2. We move on to the next adventurer. Congratulations, Brandon Carl, 2 wins in a row. Jeffrey Sawatsky, also 2 wins in a row. Jason Pincado notices that the ruffling, this is a dangerous place to be. But in a matter of seconds, the leaves stop moving. Eyes stop appearing. And there appears to be the sound of things running away. And this is incredibly confusing. Why would they run away? There's meat on the fire still, the smell is still there, and animals typically don't care if another animal dies. They're hungry, they're going to continue on. But you hear a stampede-esque sound of creatures running away. Now Jason Pincado knows this to be a problem. These creatures do not run away for no reason. Now before we enter into this part of combat, we will try to find a little bit okay, we'll do this. Something a little bit more upbeat, right? Jason Pincado knows this sound to be the beginning of the end for most living things. The sound of the wind halts. What is a desolate, snowy, cold area starts to feel warm. And out of the rustling of the leaves that is resumed stands a dark figure, cloaked. Now, the shape of this dark figure is skinny. The shoulders almost meld into the body. The legs do not look like legs, and you can't see them. They're shrouded in his cape this black cape. Jason screams, "The son of death!" Now Jason runs forward, and he knows that, from his knowledge, no one else knows this, but Jason has seen this creature before, and it's not a creature, it is a mystical figure. Before he is able to let anyone know what this is, he has to roll to see if he survives the initial combat. Jason, oh my god, a 98 for Jason Pincato. That is a good roll. You will be rewarded for that. Jason Pincato runs to the shadowy creature. He takes his sword and he attempts to swipe down. Now he is able to get close to the creature, but the sword goes through it. Jason knew this to be the case, but didn't want to believe it. The son of death, Nikolai Sutanon, has arrived. And little did they know that the land of Visgoth is the home to death. The eerie, desolate landscape and all of the bones should have been a clue. And the disgusting owl creatures with goat horns and man's body should have been another clue that this is not a place you should be. This is a land of dark magic. Now, Jason is alive. He disengages combat. He takes a step back. His brothers come forward. You can see in their eyes they're invigorated. They've eaten. They have energy. They're not worried about the son of death. Although they are frightened. But they have just seen the sword go through him and do nothing. These are innovative people. One of them, John Pinder, who I believe has 2 roles, quickly thinks to himself, well, if this is the son of death, then he may love fire. He takes his sword, he bathes it in the oil that they used to cook, and he plunges it into the fire. His sword now rages red, and it is burning, and he runs over. He has 2 roles. Will he survive combat with Nikolai, the son of death? Oh my god, the first roll is a 3, the second roll is a 95! Thank you. That is a good save by John Pinder. John Pinder attempts to swing at him first. He misses, he stumbles. He starts to fear, but that fear turns into courage. He brings up his fiery sword, and it touches the skin of Nikolai, and you hear a shriek. The shriek is so loud that the ears from every single brother present start to bleed instantly, as if an artery has been broken. Now, John Pinder is taken aback from this. He's hurting, but he notices that Nikolai has changed form. Nikolai now has hands coming from his shoulders. Nikolai has feet coming from his abdomen. This creature that once looked kind of like a man, a disgustingly skinny, nasty-looking man cloaked in black, has now turned into a creature that looks like an abomination, something God did not want to create. Nikolai understands that they know his weakness now, and his weakness is fire. And they understand that too. Every brother takes their swords, they plunge it into the fire, they lather it in oil, and they raise their fiery swords. Now Nikolai is scared, and this creature is the son of death. That is what he is referred to. He has killed thousands of travelers, and somehow John Pinder is the first to find out its weakness. John Pinder has 1 win. We move on to August Donahue. August, with his fiery sword, runs up and takes swing. Does he land? He has 1 roll. It is a 16. He does not land. And this hellish creature with 1 of 6 arms grabs August Donahue, plunges him into the side, and cracks his neck. August is no more. His brothers cry out, "August! No!" Seth House, in anger, jumps forward, sword in both hands, and attempts to smash down on this hellish creature. Does he land? His one roll, he rolls a 9! As he's in the air and he's coming down with his sword, this creature takes his hand and simply grabs his neck while fighting the other brothers with the other hands. This is not looking good. Seth tries to get out of this neck hold. He's being strangled, but he can't. He can barely breathe. You see Seth's face look purple. Now, Blake Sobolski wants to save his brother. Blake has 2 rolls, I believe. Blake, the first roll must save Seth House. You can save him. If it doesn't roll, then he dies. Will Seth live? Will Blake win his rolls? Here we go. First roll. Oh my! He doesn't save his brother. Seth House is now dead. Seth has been strangled by this hellish creature, and this hellish creature has not let go. His hands tighten and tighten and tighten. And Seth at this point almost looks decapitated. His head barely... Dylan Brown, your name has not popped up yet. I just saw that message. His head barely remains on his body. Blake, grieving, angry, raises his fiery sword and attempts to swing down again. And as he swings down, will he land it? Oh my God, Blake. In all of the anger, you have lost vision of all of the training you've had. Seth has died under your arms. The creature, villainous, nasty, a hellish fiend, the son of Satan, Nikolai, laughs, a disgusting laugh. And Blake, in sadness that he was not able to save his brother, drops his sword, tear in his eye, and he looks up to the skies. He can see his parents, he can see Seth House, he can see Alex Mann, the brothers that have already perished, and he gives up. And he says, my only hope, as the hand is coming down on him, he says, my only hope is that the heavens accept me. And the hand grabs his head, and in one strong clasp, his skull is destroyed. Blake Sobolski is no more. Seth House has died. Alex Dumez is crying at this point. His brothers are perishing around him. You look in his eyes and Alex is ready to face death or face victory. He runs in. He attempts to swing his fiery sword at this creature with a vigor not yet seen. Alex, not only is he angry, not only is there energy within him, Alex takes this sword and he smites down on this fiendish creature, and he comes directly inside of it. And as he lands it, you can see the fire burst forward. He's taken aback. Alex is flung back, but this creature is hurt. The smile is gone. The laughs are done. This creature is wriggling. It's burning. Its cloak has caught on fire. Matthew Holland, a victor we've known from different arenas, charges in. And the battle continues to kill Nikolai, the son of Satan. Matthew Holland has 3 rolls. This is to kill Nikolai. He is not here to play games. Matthew is here to end this once and for all. The first roll is a 42 that is not a win. The second roll is an 83 that is a win. And the third roll is an 81 that is 2 wins. Nikolai engages in hand-to-hand combat with this fiend, attempting to raise his sword, but the fiend has grabbed his hand. He uses his other hand to pull a dagger, and a vial splashes on his hand. This is a poison vial, but he rubs it onto the creature, As he's stabbing this creature, he stabs this creature multiple times. Nikolai is morphing as this happens, hands coming in and out of him, feet coming in and out of him, wings coming in and out of him. This creature was truly made by Satan, the son of Satan. But Matthew Holland, in all of his anger for what he's seen thus far, for his hard life, his life full of poverty and anger, is not willing to let go of this creature. He is stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. And finally, Nikolai is done. The body deflates. And while there was once a creature in his cloak, now only a cloak remains, with ash-like substances scattered around. Nikolai, the son of Satan, is no more. Matthew has killed him, revenging his brothers, revenging Blake Savoski. That is 2 wins for Matthew. Now we move on. As this happens, and Nikolai is dead, the brothers, tired, weary, no energy in them, look at each other. What have we gotten ourselves into? And as they say this, the ground starts to rumble. As this ground rumbles, it starts to open up. Cracks appear in the surface of the land. Hellish green fire rises from these cracks. Creatures, skeletons start to crawl out with swords attached to their back. The brothers, with fear in their eyes, realize they may be in hell. Visgoth was not Visgoth. Visgoth was the end of their time. Dylan Brown refuses to accept this. Dylan takes an axe, charges forward against these hellish fiends. As the ground is opening up and fire continues to burst forward after the death of Nikolai, the son of Satan. The chaos is reigning supreme here, but Dylan wants it all to end, and he attempts to enter combat. Dylan, the first roll is a 45. Dylan runs up as he sees the ground opening up and the greenish fire flames towards him. He sees 2 skeletal figures in front of him with swords. These swords look almost Greek. These are ancient swords, rusted but sharp. And as he enters combat, he's able to deflect 2 sword hits, and he does it with skill. This is someone who has been in combat before. But as he does this, another creature, slimy and sick, comes from the ground beneath him and stabs him. As he falls onto his knees, staring at his brothers through the fire, the green fire. Dylan Brown is engulfed in sadness that this is the last time he may see his brothers, but he has the hope that he might see them in the afterlife. As he does this, a skeleton appears from behind as his brother Adam Swift looks upon him, and the skeleton, with a disgusting look on its face, well, no look on its face, it's the skeleton, there's no meat on his face, but comes up from behind, takes the head of Dylan, grabs his sword, and ends Dylan there and then. Dylan falls. Adam sees this and charges forward. In the name of Dylan! As he wait. Adam is 1 roll, I believe. Yes, he's 1 roll. Adam, you roll to see what happens next. A 13. The brothers are falling. The battle does not appear to be in their favor. They've been hit with so much today that this is something they may not be able to handle. Adam runs up, attempts to kill the skeleton that has killed his brother, but as he does this, a winged creature flies from the floor. Flies in from the floor, through the fiery, green, whatever, coming through the cracks. And this is a bat-like, you know, a demon. It's just a demon. Very little in the common world can describe these hellish fiends. These are not something these brothers have ever seen before. It swings at Adam, but its talons miss. Adam wins an extra roll. Adam, you have one chance to save your brothers, to help them go home. You have one roll. You lost the first. Oh! While Adam was shaken, and he didn't know if he would be able to survive, he takes his sword, and while everything around him is crumbling, he finds it within himself to reach into the light, and the fire on his sword burns brighter and oranger. And as this creature swoops down again, he reaches up, he grabs the wing, flies up onto the back of this creature, grabs his sword and plunges it into the neck of the creature. The creature falls, its dead body, as Adam jumps off, falls back into the abyss in which it came. Suddenly, the skeletons fall back into the abyss as well. They jump back in, but the crevices continue to open. Adam disengages from combat. As this is happening, John, if you get another ticket, you do get a redemption roll. Did you buy another ticket? I can roll for you again at the end of the sequence. As this is happening and the crevices continue to open, the ground is still cracking, but there are no creatures coming out. The fire has subdued. They hear a deep, dark laugh. What comes? Anthony Muscaro, one of the final brothers to have energy, peers into the darkness of the abyss. And what he sees is frightening. The dead body of his brother, Alexton Mann, is floating in the abyss with red eyes and a smile he has never seen on his face. As he says this to his other brother, he says, "Alex is here, but he is no longer mortal. I believe the dark magic has taken him." They knew that they burned his body earlier when he had originally died. Alex's body floats through the crevice, and you see the red eyes. You know that this is not Alex. A demon has taken his body as a vessel, but it is not just a demon. From what you know and from what you feel, this may be Satan himself. The laugh that comes through once Satan's body has now come from the crevice is echoed across the lands. There are no birds. There are no animals. Sound stops. And all you can hear is the decrepit breath of this strange and vile creature that may be Satan himself. You have killed his son, and he comes to get revenge on these brothers that he wanted to take to the underworld. Anthony Muscaro, you are his first target. His red eyes latch onto you. Do you win the roll and survive? As these red eyes latch onto Anthony, you see Anthony's skin start to boil. His flesh starts to melt off of his body. Stanley Tarasowitz, the Black Knight, in all of his victories and all of his adventure, knows that this may be the end. Anthony falls. His bones start to appear out of the sludge that was once his flesh and skin. Wait, Adam Swift had 1 win. Let me record that. And then we had Boom Brown died. Okay. Anthony has died. Stanley Taraswitz, the Black Knight, the knight that fears nothing, the knight who has killed goblins, who has killed creatures 10 times his size, stands there. He has already put on his helm, and he is ready for the end. He has 4 rules to fight Satan. He reaches inside and he sees the light, and he pulls from it. Once again, the heavens start to open up. Light shines down on him. Stanley, you are blessed. You must end this battle. You must kill Satan. In the land of Visgoth, you must be the conqueror. You have 4 roles. Failure here is not an option. The first role is a win. The second role is a loss. The third role is a loss. The fourth role. Oh my God! He hits a natural 100. He hits a natural 100. Stanley Taraswitz, with the strength of 1,000 lions, tigers, apes, the fury of a son forgotten, raises his sword. Blessed by the gods, the fire rages from it, and he enters into combat. Stanley starts to float in the air. He has entered into a phase of holiness. God has blessed him. The gods of RNG say, now, Stanley, you are the Knight of Spice. You must end this man, this hellish creature that comes from the heavens. Stanley takes the fire from his sword and holds it in his hand. Stanley is no longer mortal, and they enter into combat. Stanley throwing the fire. Satan, fear in his eyes, knows that the heavens have now blessed this man to become his knight, to become their knight. Angels fly down beside him. Avacyn comes forward, ready to fight by Stanley's side. As this happens, John Fagel comes onto the back. Oh wait, before that happens, we roll for John Fagel here. John, do you come onto the back of an angel? He does! John takes his sword, flies onto the back of an angel. He enters into combat with Satan. Satan, using this hellish green fire, is throwing it at these angels, throwing it at John, throwing it at Stanley. The battle is epic. This fight continues. John attempting to jump off this angel and onto Satan. John, I will give you one last roll. If you land above a 90, you will win $100 worth of credit. John Fagel, if you land above a 90, you will win $100 of free cash that you can use on any product. This is the final roll of tonight. John Fagel, what say you in chat? As you are in the air, and you are bringing your sword down, and you are attempting to end Satan himself. What say you, Knight of Spice, son of the House of George O, John Fagel? What say you, son? This is the last roll of tonight. If John isn't here, we'll roll it anyway. John? Last chance. We roll. 5. John says, "Bring spice!" as he jumps into the air and swings down. John above a 90, $100. Free credit. Lords in his brain. Spicy? No! We'll give it one more roll. Damn it, okay. I wanted to see. I really wanted to give out $100 free credit. Now, Stanley has rolled 100. John narrowly misses, and as he falls from the sky, the angel picks him up. And as this happens, Stanley, the helm of black on his head, floats up to Satan himself, looks him in the eye, and says, "Today is your last day." He takes his fiery sword. The helm is now as gold as the throne in which his king sits. Stanley plunges the sword inside of Satan. Light echoes from his abdomen. This vessel that he uses was once his brother, Alexis Mann, but Stanley knows that this is no longer his brother. The sword is plunged inside. Light as bright as anything anyone has ever seen fills the air, engulfs everyone around. And suddenly there is silence. There is nothing and no one. The land becomes desolate again. The snow falls. The brothers are gone. Some have relics left in the snow. But what was seen by some of the creatures was an opening in the heavens. The brothers may have been given a seat in the heavens of spice, where they enjoy some of the most expensive Magic the Gathering sets ever released, among the clouds, feasting on Dr. Pepper and rotisserie chicken and fried chicken. The heavens open for them, and then it closes. The owl creatures are no more. The werewolves are no more. The saber-tooth-like creatures are no more. The land returns to nothing. And that is the end of the 5th Mystery MTG Spice Arena, the land of Visgoth. Congratulations to those who won. Stanley, I need to put your name down here. RS with 2. And then we had John Fagel. With 1 win. What an epic journey it was. I congratulate all of those who lived. I grieve for those who died. I have also died. I am the ghost of Visgoth. I was once a traveler like you. And this was me. I'm on the right of this image, being killed by these owl-like creatures. What a good story. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it was quite fun. Seemed to go pretty smoothly, I would say. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Do you want to see it again? How did you feel? Stanley rolled 100, so we're going to have to spice this thing up a lot. 100 is a critical hit. That's a crit roll. Natural 100. We're going to have to send him something really crazy here. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to give it a couple minutes. We can talk and chat if you guys have any questions. I have hair in my mouth from this beard. That was fun. That was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I always get murdered really brutally. Isn't that just as fun as winning, Dylan? When you get an epic death story, I feel like it's almost as good as winning. That was pretty epic, though. That was pretty epic, though. Like I said, this comes off the top. These stories are never planned, so, you know, fighting the devil and the Satan's son just really kind of came off the side there. Wasn't really what I planned in the beginning, but, you know, that's what happens when you tell a story like that. I like this. This is like training to become a good D&D host. You know, to become a good dungeon master. That's basically what this is. Alrighty, guys, I think we're going to call it a night. I know it's late. It's almost 10 p.m. You guys have work tomorrow. Thank you, Dylan. I think the music really does it, too. I kind of wish I could make a playlist of epic adventure music, and then we can use that one as a good basis. But this was an epic... I enjoyed this a lot. I think there were certain moments where, you know, this could actually be a D&D setting or a story that I would run as a one-shot. I think it actually went fairly well. It's just hard when you're doing it off the top, when you're not planning anything. There's no script in front of me, there's nothing in front of me, and we just create it as we go. We take suggestions from chat. We use the names that people have when they buy tickets, and that's it. And it simply, I think it's pretty fun for those who enjoy it. Maybe a little bit long, but anyway, we're going to call it a night here, guys. Congratulations. We will get this all sent out ASAP as soon as possible. Tomorrow we get some new printed label things so that we can start shipping things out. Shipping is under 3 business days now. We've been doing that, and it's been going incredibly well. So, love you guys. I will see you next time. Dylan Brown, thanks for hanging out. John Fagel, Stanley Tarasowitz, Matthew Holland. Who else was in the chat? We'll just read some names off. Kay Kapanen, Nick Griffin, Jeffrey Sawatsky. Thank you guys so much. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time. This is Alan with MysteryMTG.com. Make sure to get your tickets for next week on Friday. It'll be just as epic, if not more epic. And I will see you guys